What's good, guys? Welcome to the JHouze podcast with KJ and me, Los. And today we're talking about the future of television and what we think it'll be, how streaming services are, and we're going to talk about the main three, which are Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. There are oh my God, I should have put my phone on mute. There are a whole bunch of other ones out there, but mostly we're talking about those three because those are the big three, and they pour a lot of money into their shows. KJ, tell me, what is your take on the future of television?
I think the future of television is dying at this point. Just like how people don't read newspapers anymore, people don't go to the library anymore, et cetera, et cetera. Streaming is taking over. Everything is streaming. We have streaming video games, streaming TV shows, streaming networks. Almost every business at this point is making their own streaming website. You know, ever since Netflix blew up and kind of did their thing, everybody's following suit. And I think a lot of it has to do with the simple fact that everybody's busy. A lot of people don't have the time to sit down and wait for a TV show to come on at 6 o'clock because they're working, they have kids, they got something going on in their life. And streaming is just turning into a more convenient way of entertainment. You know, you can have a new show come on and you say, you know what, when I have time, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to binge it. And you can do that at your own pace, whenever you want to, any time of day. You know, so in my opinion, I think television is dying.
Well, I agree with you. I think the future of television is in streaming, but you have channels like the CW who give you a CW app, which allow you to watch the episode full quality, full streamed. I think it's 24 hours or 12 hours after the show is aired.
Yeah.
And they keep a full season up. And they have other shows that have been canceled that are still there. Things like Whose Line Is It Anyway, which I didn't know was a CW show. I kind of think that's a real good hybrid as far as what television could and couldn't be. But here's my other thing. Do you think the streaming stuff is more a television show, or do you think it's more a short film?
I think it's turning into a little bit of both. Honestly, it's giving a lot of indie directors more chance to have a freedom to be expressive in their films, because it's hard to get a movie in like the theaters nowadays. It's really hard, you know. So I feel like streaming is going to allow more creative, you know, people out there, whether it's directors, actors, producers, to put out content, and they can kind of have a little more control over what they're putting out. I mean, look at Netflix. There's like millions of different shows that's exclusive to Netflix, and a lot of them are actually pretty good. You know, for example, Stranger Things. You know, you can't find that on TV, and it's an amazing show that's only on Netflix.
I haven't watched it.
What? Get off the show right now. Get off the show.
Listen, I've lived through the 80s. I've lived through the 80s. It wasn't really that good. I was a kid in the 80s, so yeah, I'm just not,
Honestly,
I'm not that interested in it.
You know what? That's my pick of the week. I know every week we try to pick something to recommend to people, whether it's any kind of form of entertainment, whether music, film, gaming, whatever. My pick of the week is Stranger Things. If you haven't checked it out, you got to watch it. Because I felt the same way like you. I was like, something that's in regards to the 80s is probably going to be a little boring. This show is amazing. You got to check it out. You have to.
Okay, if we're doing our picks early and we're doing them now, my pick is on Amazon Prime, Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
That sounds like a porn movie or something, man, I swear.
It's not. Okay, let me tell you the whole premise of it, okay? Jean-Claude Van Damme has retired from acting, so he's doing his same old daily routine. You know, he's very bored, and he decides that he wants to go, that he's secretly a spy, and his front is that he's an actor of action movies. So then he wants to go back to doing spy business, and the show is fucking hysterical. Like, you would not believe that Jean-Claude Van Damme actually has comedy chops. He is really funny in this show. And it has action. It's really funny. It's the most stupidest premise ever. And like, he shows his age. Like, you look at him like, wow, man, you've gone old. but man, it's a really there's only one episode.
Oh, it's only one episode so far?
It's only one episode.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, let me double check. Episode 1, watch now, yeah.
And it's on Hulu, you said?
Amazon.
Oh, Amazon? So back to the streaming service. Like I said, I feel like streaming is the future. It's going to take over. Television is eventually going to die. Not even just television, but I just think cable in general. I think we're not going to really have a reason for having a cable box anymore. Because me personally, the only time I even turn on my cable box is if I'm watching the football game. That's pretty much it. And most of the stuff that comes on TV is on Netflix. Like I watch Supergirl and I watch The Flash and it's on Netflix. So that's where I watch it. So it's going to get to the point where it's going to be a domino effect. We're going to probably lose cable boxes, but I feel like internet is going to become more expensive because we're going to need to have faster internet because everybody is going to be streaming. So it's going to be kind of like a counteract situation, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. Cable is losing to internet.
Oh yeah.
They are losing big time. People are canceling their cable subscriptions right and left. With smart TVs around, you don't even need to buy an additional box.
Yeah, you don't.
Plug in your YouTube account, plug in your Hulu account, plug in your Amazon account, plug in your Netflix account. Like on my TV, I have my Hulu account, I have my Netflix account, I have my Amazon Prime account, I have my YouTube account. I don't need an additional box anymore.
Oh yeah.
Hell, I can even surf the web on my TV. So I'm actually to the point where I want to get rid of all my cable boxes because it's pointless.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, I keep it mainly for the kids, so they can watch their little like Nickelodeon, but Nickelodeon's coming up with a streaming service, so I'm not going to need it anymore. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing a streaming service. So yeah, it's going to get to the point where you're not going to need
Here is the problem with all these streaming services. It will wind up being more expensive than cable, which will make people go towards the bootleg sites more and more and more.
Yeah.
And people will run to those bootleg sites because let's face it, why do I want to pay, for the sake of argument, for 10 streaming services that cost me $100? Well, it's like having cable.
Yeah, because at this point right now, I think I have a Netflix, I have Hulu. Those are the only ones I have, but I'm considering DC because I'm a DC guy, and I'm considering Disney because my kids watch Disney, and then obviously Marvel is going to be on Disney. So probably within the next year, I'm probably going to have about 6 streaming subscriptions within the next year.
I will not get Disney. Under no circumstances will I get Disney.
Even for all the Marvel stuff, so even if all of the Marvel TV shows and movies only came there, because eventually it's going to happen.
No. I can go to your house and watch.
I'll charge you at the door. $1.
Man, I'm going to come in empty-handed. I'm not going to come with like a bottle of Jack Daniels popcorn,
Oh, man.
Or better yet, sleep gummies for the kids. Here you go.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But
no, I'm... Okay, the problem is I have a very big... I'm not a big Disney fan in general.
Okay.
I kind of feel like they do too much of a cash grab to their audiences. Like, in the 90s where they did the Disney Vaults, it's their old movies, which they didn't release on VHS for X number of years.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, buy, Disney Vault Edition. We opened the vaults just to give you this movie. And so then you bought it on DVD. And then 15 years later, they're like, oh, we opened our vaults again so you can buy it on Blu-ray. And then they open it again so that you can buy the same Blu-ray, but this time with a streaming service.
Yeah.
It just feels like they want to dig into your pocket all the time. As much as I love Marvel, there isn't enough Marvel material to keep me coming back for more. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I'm not.
I love Star Wars, man. I love Star Wars.
I don't because the Star Wars follows the King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table formula. It really does. Darth Vader is the Black Knight. Okay. Luke Skywalker is King Arthur who pulled the sword out of the stone, essentially. Princess Leia started out as Guinevere, you know, but then they turned it into his sister, which was bizarre. And the problem with it is a lot of the fans just want to keep it in that realm. Like I thought that Rogue One and the Solo movies were great addition to Star Wars, and the cartoons were great addition to Star Wars because it expanded the universe into more things than just space knights with laser swords. You know?
Yeah.
And that was my problem with it. When you look at Battlestar Galactica, they open up their universe. You know, the 70s version and the 2000s version. When you look at things like Space 1999 from the 60s, that opened up. Star Trek opened up to a world, to a lot of different worlds and a lot of different ideas and a lot of different concepts and so much morality into it. You know, is Star Wars a great action film? Absolutely. Okay. It is the king of the sci-fi action films. Nobody can knock it. But do I want to watch it 100,000 times? No.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love Star Wars too, but only certain ones I can actually go back to watch more than once. You know, and like you said, I love the fact that they came out with Rogue One because I thought, like you said, it was something different, something that the franchise needed, and everything needs something new to try to refresh itself, basically. You know, and I think Disney is actually coming out with a separate like TV show for Star Wars. They're doing a live action Rogue One spinoff starring I think Rogue One's star Diego Luna. He's going to be reprising his role as what was his name? Cassian Andor. It's supposed to talk about the events prior to Rogue One, basically. So I'm kind of looking forward to that just to see what they do with it. And it's interesting that like a streaming service or a TV show in general is actually using a star that was in the movie in the show. You don't really see that happen like almost at all. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, Marvel's doing it now.
Oh yeah, Marvel's doing that with a lot of their characters. Loki, he's getting his own show. And I think Elizabeth Olsen, who plays what does she play? Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Yep. Falcon, Bucky, like they're all of the actors from the movie.
No, it's Winter Soldier. You can't call him Bucky.
Oh, sorry, Winter Soldier.
Because look. Yeah, no. Because like you call one of the characters by their superhero name and the other one not by the superhero name. It's a little weird.
Yeah, true.
Out of all that, the only one I'm interested in really is the Falcon and Winter Soldier one.
Really?
Because one, they hate each other in the movies.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
Kind of like, but they act kind of like the old wife and the new wife. You know what I'm trying to say?
That is very true. I never thought about it like that.
and both characters in the comics have been Captain America.
Really?
Falcon is currently Captain America, which I thought was the best decision ever.
Oh wow! I actually never knew that. I
Captain
never
America.
knew that.
You know, and the thing that really annoyed me was a lot of people were like, he can't be Captain America, and I was like, why? It makes sense. He's been his sidekick for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
He understands what he goes for. They have the same core values. You know, they fought side by side. You know, and I'm thinking very logically. And then I read online, he can't be Captain America because he's black. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, people get that standard that if a character is a certain color in like a comic book, and if they bring it to real life and it's a different color, they're like, all right, well, why change the race? Why change the color? It's a different spin. Why not? You know?
Well, my whole thing is comic books is about the way things should be, not the way they actually are. You understand? Because an Irish guy from the 40s wouldn't normally be as accepting of all races, creeds, and colors, which is what Captain America is, you know. But in the comic books, he accepts everybody, you know, and that moves on forward. And that's the way it should be. And that's why I like comic books and the idea of it. And to me, I guess because I'm a fan of the medium, I don't really Like if someone says, okay, Falcon, oh, he has this power, he has this, he does this, he has that. And I don't really look at the color of the character only because it's a non-issue. Like it's never brought up in the comic. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
it's never brought up. The only one who really brings up a race thing is Luke Cage. And that's not so much because he's black, it's because he lives in Harlem. But the Harlem he lives in is not the Harlem of today, you know? Like Harlem's being very gentrified, you know? So it's pushing a lot of people who are in regular Harlem and Spanish Harlem out. So now it's becoming gentrified. So he's the only one to me that really screams race. Even Black Panther, you can't say he screams race because his whole story is he's from Africa, but he's not from Africa as in the Black Power thing. It just happens to be he's from a country in Africa. So and I guess for me, because they don't push the whole race issue, I never really looked at Falcon being Captain America as anything other than, hey, that's a good choice. It makes sense. Yeah, exactly. You know?
I think it's the fans who push the race thing more than anybody, which I think that's why it makes directors, producers, and filmmakers a little uncomfortable when it comes to making certain decisions when it comes to like race and like certain superheroes, you know, from comic books, because fans make such a big deal of it.
So let me ask you this much. What do you think about Star Trek being taken off the air and made only a streaming thing? What do you think about it? And what do you think about how they chose to deliver it, where it's CBS All Access in the US, but it's Netflix all over the world? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I see it as them capitalizing on the streaming opportunity, for one. And then I also see it as them trying to compete with basically Star Wars at this point. Because Star Wars, in my opinion, has become like the new version of Star Trek for some fans who are maybe a little younger or who weren't really around when Star Trek first came out. No, and
this is how.
And that's no disrespect.
You are not a
disrespect.
You are not a science fiction fan.
No disrespect.
Absolutely not a science fiction fan. By that statement alone, I know you're not a science fiction fan. Because first of all, let's talk about the truth.
Okay, what is the truth?
Star Trek was the first one who did streaming. Okay. They started the whole streaming model, and then Disney decided, oh, we'll do that too. Okay, First of all. And second of all, Star Trek and Star Wars are two completely different types of shows.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Star Trek is cerebral, and it's science fiction, while Star Wars is science fantasy. And they don't really imitate each other. The only time they imitate each other when you have idiots like JJ Abrams like taking over Star Trek.
Yeah.
No, and the best thing is in the interviews they were like, "Oh, how do you're directing this is like after he's directed the first one. Oh, what do you think about directing, Star Trek? Were you a big fan or not?" He goes, "I've never seen one episode." How the fuck are you directing this?
So he's never seen an episode, but he's directing a Star Trek movie.
He's never seen an episode.
And
he's so stupid.
I honestly, I think you're almost required that if you're taking over a franchise, whether you're just directing one film, you're producing, writing a script, if you're taking over a franchise in any kind of medium, I think it's almost required that you at least do your homework. At least watch one or two episodes, something.
Listen, I can understand him going, well, there's like 800 hours or whatever, or over 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours of Star Trek. I really don't want to watch all of that. Okay, watch the original series. It's 3 seasons. It's maybe 40-45 hours.
Yeah.
You don't even have to see all of them. See the top 10 episodes. See the top 20 episodes. Hell, just watch season 1 and 2. Forget season 3 because season 3 was terrible. And you're okay. It's just like don't jump into that's like me directing a Star Wars movie. You
never saw one Star Wars.
No, I mean I've watched Star Wars, but like I'd want to expand it more on less Jedi and more Han Solos.
Yeah, I mean,
to be quite honest.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't mean to really say that they were the same, but I just think that maybe they're trying to find a better way to reach their audience. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting idea of what they're doing, but maybe they're just trying to find a different way to reach their audience. Maybe they feel like I mean, I know there's a lot of Trekkies out there. I'm not going to say that, but I'm just saying maybe they're realizing that the generation of Trekkies is starting to dwindle a little bit, and maybe they need to just find different ways to get that name out there to even the people who love Star Wars but never heard of Star Trek. Maybe they might be interested in that. So I just think that they're just trying to find different ways to keep the Star Trek brand in the people's, vision. I think that's probably why they decided to do that, honestly.
Look, with Star Trek, like Star Trek Discovery, they screwed up so bad that they're literally backpedaling and changing all the designs. Like the Klingons, like I don't know what they were thinking. Like I literally saw the show, I was like, those are Klingons?
Was it really that bad?
Oh yeah. All right, let me give you an example. Let's say they took Chewbacca, right?
Okay.
And they said, okay, we're going to shave him. Okay.
Oh.
So now where he has a little bit of fur.
Oh.
Now we're going to give him 4 nostrils. Now we're going to make his sound robotic. Okay. And then on top of that, we're going to make him short. And then on top of that, okay, we're going to make him a bad pilot. And then on top of that, we're going to change his color. And then the list goes on and on and on. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Millennium Falcon, we're going to take the cockpit, put it in the middle, make the ship look like a hot dog. Okay, wrapped in tinfoil. And there you go. That's how bad they screwed up with the Klingons. They had no concept. And once I found out who was a special effects person who did the Klingon design, I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's an asshole.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
He's one of the judges on Face Off for Sci-Fi.
Really?
And he's just one of these guys. Yeah. I'll get his name in a second. And he's just full of himself.
Wow. I mean, also maybe that's another reason why they decided to go the streaming route. Maybe because there's been a lot of mistakes and maybe a lot of fans abandoned Star Trek because of the recent mistakes with the movies and the shows, and you know what I mean? So maybe they're trying to rekindle that relationship with all the Trekkies out there, maybe,
Oh, hold on. Glenn Hetrick. He's the one who screwed up the Klingon design. Here's the thing. The JJ movies 1 and 2 are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? One has its, and it's not the actors, it's the material they were given. One has several moments where it's really good. 2 has no moments where it's really good. And I hate the fact that they gentrified Khan. Okay? No. Khan is supposed to be a Sikh.
Yeah.
Okay? He's supposed to be from Pakistan. Okay? Having a Latino play that part kind of makes sense is, we can kind of fit in their neighborhood and they can kind of fit in ours in the sense of looks. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But when you turn him into a white British man, what are you doing? It was terrible. But Star Trek 3, from the JJ universe, wasn't half bad. It really felt more like Star Trek. It had its flaws and everything else, but it felt like Star Trek. So let me ask you, what did you think about JJ when he did Star Wars? What was it?
Yeah, which one did he do? He did
3, 4, 6 or 7, whatever it was.
He did one of them. I can't remember which one it was that he did, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a big JJ guy. When he does like anything besides, Star Wars and, like Star Trek and all that stuff like that, I'm usually I kind of like his work. Some of his little other sci-fi films are okay, but I don't know. I'm not really big on him as a director as everybody else is. He just seems like another version of, oh man, what's that director? Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, yes.
JJ just seems like a sci-fi watered down version of Michael Bay, in my opinion.
No, JJ's an asshole. look at Lost. People who were hooked on Lost had to like apologize to themselves for watching it because it was so terrible.
Oh,
it was,
man.
and then what he did in episode 7, The Force Awakens, that Rey character is a Mary Sue. Are you aware of the term Mary Sue?
No.
Okay, well, Mary Sue actually comes from a fan fiction that was written in the 70s or 80s about a character called Mary Sue, who was a better leader than Captain Kirk, more logical than Spock, a better engineer than Kirk, a better pilot than Sulu. Like, it just went on and on and on, you know? And so the character name was Mary Sue. So they can do everything. So The Force Awakens, Rey was a Mary Sue. You know, she can fight with a lightsaber. She's an awesome pilot. She doesn't need any training with the Force. You know, like all this nonsense, you know? Like, I was like, yo, I'm all for strong female characters and I think films need them, but making her a Mary Sue, come on.
Yeah,
you know?
I did feel like they could have gone about Rey's whole, like just her character in general. I just feel like they could have done that a little better. I just felt like they just kind of threw her in here and said, "Oh, hey, look, she has all these powers now, and she's our hero, and you know, like just believe in her, and et cetera, et cetera." I don't know. I just feel like they could have done a little better with her. Honestly, I mean, I have nothing against strong female characters, like you said. You know, more power to them. But I just felt like it could have. I feel like it was rushed, and it could have been done a little better. Maybe if they would have introduced her in like the previous Star Wars movie. What's the other one that we just got finished talking about? I can't think of it.
What, Rogue One?
Maybe if she had like a small role in Rogue One, they kind of introduced her a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I would have had a little bit.
Or maybe she was the daughter of the two main characters?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I just felt like it was just rushed. They just kind of threw her in there and she just knew everything. And I just didn't believe in the character. I mean, I liked her character after everything was, was said and done. But at first, I just didn't believe in that.
Listen, if she was Obi-Wan's granddaughter.
Oh, yeah.
I could have bought into her being that powerful. With
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, all right, if you're going to give her all those powers and say she can do this and she can do that, she has the Force, like, kind of make her, like, I don't know, kind of stick her to a character that we kind of knew or something from a previous movie. Even if it wasn't a main character, it would have been a little bit more, like, believable. But just to say, oh, this strange person just has this connection with the Force just because. And it's like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just kind of threw me off a little bit at first.
And the Force is kind of a crutch,
Yeah, exactly.
Everything can be explained with the Force. Why did you fall?
The Force. I don't know. That's why I like Rogue One, because everything just, I mean, yeah, they still, try to refer to the Force, but it was just different. It was a different story, and I think it's time at this point, as far as Star Wars is concerned, let's get away from Luke. Get away from the Luke story. Get away from Darth Vader story. They've been dragging on that story for decades, so many years, so many films. I think it's time to move on to a different story. Just something different. And don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars. I love the story. I love Luke. I love Darth Vader. He's one of my favorite villains of all time. But still, I just think it's time for a new direction for the film, a new direction for the franchise. Just go somewhere else with it, honestly. That's just my opinion. Well, as far as streaming, we'll get back to that. As far as streaming, with everything in regards to Disney, with them coming out with all of these streaming shows with Loki and just all these different, Marvel characters. I mean, do you feel like it's going to get to a point where we're going to need as many Marvel movies anymore? Like, do we need 3, 4, 5 Marvel movies a year if we have Marvel like streaming shows?
Yes, absolutely.
Why so though?
Absolutely. 3 movies, absolutely yes, because we're not focused on the same characters.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. Okay. Yeah. Those were Marvel TV shows, essentially. Mm-hmm. That didn't stop me from seeing Spider-Man.
Yeah, true.
And if I like Loki a lot and I watch his television series and he winds up in Avengers 5 or whatever, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I just think that they're picking the right formula, doing limited series of no more. I think it's 6 to 10 episodes. And they're picking characters that they don't have enough story for a movie because a movie has to generate a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
But they have enough story for a TV series where people will be willing to watch that show because they also want to watch the movies in the streaming service. So it makes sense. It makes good sense. Like, I'll watch a Black Widow movie.
Oh, yeah.
They have that.
For sure.
But I wouldn't watch a Black Widow TV show.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Too much of the same thing.
Yeah, like that. Now that I think about it, that actually does make sense, because if you think about the movie like Infinity War, there's so many characters. There were even some characters who really didn't get a lot of screen time, and I heard a lot of reviews talking about how they felt like certain characters, like they just like they did like the run and gun technique. Like each character only got like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and they really didn't get a lot of screen time, and a lot of people wanted to see certain characters get more screen time. But like you said, with such limited time, it's hard for Loki to, shine in a movie with 20 other villains. You know what I mean? So maybe the streaming service it actually might make their films better, because like you said, if you're a Loki fan and you watch his show constantly, the minute you find out Loki is going to be in the next Iron Man movie, you're like, oh, wait a second, I like that character. I might have to go check out this film. And that might actually get more butts in the seats because of the fact that you had that time to generate a story, a backstory with that character. And maybe that'll also allow Marvel to save money. They don't have to come out with so many, like backstory films, like just to figure out, oh, where'd this character come from? What is he about? You can use that time on the show and then come out with a full-fledged film with that character later on, and that way you already build up that knowledge base with the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing is, so they can actually make it as a supplement to the movie.
Yeah.
Like a good example is Loki shows up in Avengers in the next movie. Was it Avengers 5?
4
or 4?
Yeah, 4.
Avengers 4. But you don't know how he showed up there. But the TV series shows you how he actually wound up showing up there. Things like that I think are super cool.
Yeah.
I
mean, they have many ways that they can work this out and tweak it. It's actually pretty interesting to see what Marvel is going to do in regards to the streaming service, linking it up with its films. Like, it's really interesting. They can go about it in so many different ways, because if you look at the Marvel universe, but not even just Marvel, like with DC as well, there's so many villains. There's so many heroes. There's some villains and heroes that I don't even know about. You know what I mean? So for the fact that we have the movies and the streaming service, like, it's going to take me back to some of the comic books that I didn't get to read. I get to know some of these characters now. You know what I mean?
For me, I'm into the comic books, so I do read them. Mm-hmm. Like the whole Civil War thing was huge in the comics.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, it was huge. But it wasn't so big in the movies. But I like what the movies did because it became very personal.
Oh yeah.
Because they reduced the characters.
Yeah, it did.
So, like, even the comic books don't guide the movies, and there are a lot of characters that are just made up.
Yeah.
Like I think character's name is Ned from Spider-Man. His Hawaiian buddy,
Ned,
the big kid.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that character actually comes from the Spider-Man, the Ultimate Universe.
Really?
Yeah. The half black, half Puerto Rican, or half Dominican.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
What was it? Miles Morales.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, Spider-Man, Peter Parker's only white Spider-Man.
Really?
Because Spider-Man 2099 is half Mexican and half Irish. His name is Miguel O'Hara.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so now from the Ultimate Universe, Miles Morales is half Latino, half black. So
yeah, that's interesting.
You know what? It is and it isn't. It makes sense because it's New York.
Yeah, true.
New York, when Spider-Man was made, you thought of mostly white people.
Yeah.
As you go through time, you think of mixed people.
Exactly. I mean, it's more realistic to reality, honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, anyway, back on that tractor. Like, so then his character's taken from the Ultimate Universe. So it was a nice mix that way they changed things up. I liked it. And even in the Spider-Man game, they added Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Who,
Well, I already kind of knew about that spoiler, so it's okay.
no, everybody knew about it. It was in a couple of commercials.
Oh, really? Yeah. You're right. So,
yeah. I just kind of think the comic books have so many characters and so many ways you can go with so many things. Like Captain America, like when he isn't being Captain America, he's called Nomad, you know? And in Avengers, he's being the Nomad character, you know, the dark costume and everything else.
Yeah.
At one point, Captain America was turned into a werewolf. You know, at one point, he was a sleeper agent for Hydra. You know, like they've gotten rid of him, they've frozen him, and then they reset the whole clock, and then they brought him back like 20 years later. Like all this stuff they've done with Captain America that, you know, if you follow the comic books, you're like, wow, this is confusing. But in the movies, they simplify things, and I kind of like the way they do it.
Now
they're pretty good.
Now, do you think? Well, coming to the closing statements of my ideas of the streaming service, but do you think that with all of the movies now added, all of these streaming services with all these streaming TV shows from all these comic book characters, do you think it's possible that maybe people could get a little worn out from the comic book genre with so many movies and TV shows?
You think people could get tired of the whole superhero wave?
Yeah. Is
what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they could.
You don't think so?
I don't think they could. No. Star Wars is a perfect example of a genre of science fantasy lasting from 1977 to 2018 with only a small dip in interest.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a good factor. Look at Star Trek, 50 years, you know, and they're still going strong, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't think people will get tired of it because characters in comic books are a reflection of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I love Captain America in the movies because he's what I strive to be. You know, someone who's a little more honest, someone who's a little more upfront, someone who is, you know, not scared to back down.
Yeah.
While someone else might like Iron Man because they're a show off, or someone else might like Black Widow because they have a secret side, or someone might like the Hulk because they have a temper. You know, I just kind of think that there's so many different angles and reflections of ourselves in comic books that I don't think there'll be fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be fatigue with the genre. I may be, you know, eating my hat in like 5 years, but right now I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess it also all depends on quality. Like, let's say if the next 5-10 years of comic book movies or TV shows, like if the quality drops off, then that might be the only thing that might, you know, where it's welcome.
Have you ever seen the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie?
Yes, it was horrible.
So you did see that cheap, really crappy one,
yes,
right?
It was horrible.
Have you seen the really crappy Captain America one?
I don't think so. What, like?
Yo, the Captain America suit was made out of spandex. So, like, you see it on his face, and you see his face kind of half pouring out of the mask. It was terrible. And you've hit the nail right on the head. It's about quality. If they're made in the quality of Spider-Man, you know, Civil War, and all those, people will continue watching it.
Yeah.
People know what good quality when they see it. Like Venom was one of those movies where I saw it and I was like, it's all right. It's good. It's watchable. Critics hated it, but a lot of people loved it. I just thought it was on the border.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that one yet either. I need to go see that one.
Man, you got to start watching more movies.
I know,
bro.
man. I got so many movies on my backlog right now, man. I need to catch up. I'm falling behind.
So for people like yourself, I can kind of see where streaming is an option for someone like yourself who has a family, who has kids, who is busy, and doesn't really have a chance to get out to the theaters. I can kind of see someone like yourself streaming a Venom movie, calling your friends over, and then bringing their kids so your kids can have a play date and you can enjoy the movie. I kind of see as streaming as something like that for someone like yourself. Now, the question is, would you be open to something like that?
As far as my lifestyle, yes, it probably would be a lot easier just to stream. So, like, if they gave, and I'm sure movie theaters will probably get to that point. I just don't think it'll happen anytime soon. But maybe movie theaters will offer a streaming option. Like, maybe they might have it, like, instead of paying $8 a month to stream Netflix, they might say, all right, you can stream the new Venom movie from the Lowe's Theater app, but you have to pay regular ticket price. Maybe there might be a small discount if you have like a subscription. I don't know. But you have that option and you can only watch it for like 24 hours. If they had that, I would do it.
All right. So when it boils down to streaming, where do you think its strong points is? Where do you think its weak points is? And where do you think pirating fits into all of this? And is it something that streaming services can do to get people less likely to pirate a movie or a TV show?
I think streaming service, as far as pirating, I'm gonna start off with that one. I think streaming service is becoming more accessible, and as long as the price is right, I think that will help avoid pirating. Honestly, I think personally, with the way streaming services is now, I think maybe it's cutting down on pirating a little more compared to how it used to be. I know a lot of TV show websites have gotten shut down, and there just isn't that many random pirated TV show websites anymore because you kind of don't really need it. I mean, you have your Netflix, you have your Hulu. Like, it makes it easier to just get a subscription instead of going online, trying to find an illegal website and trying to find the right website. You know what I mean? It's too easy now to watch movies and shows that it makes you not want to have to worry about doing that anymore.
See, I disagree with you because of this. Like the Titans TV show, right? I can only watch that when I hang out with Hacker, okay? Because he's got the subscription. Okay. The Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, and Hacker, by the way, is one of our homeboys who used to work at Great Door Studios with us.
Yeah.
FYI.
We call him Hacker Chris because he can kind of get into anything, and not only that, he is a huge comic book head, and we're trying to get him. We're trying to work out the details to get him to appear on an episode, on a podcast. But anyway, I want to watch Star Trek Discovery, and it was a big pain in the ass for me to watch it. You know?
Yeah.
I only want to watch one show. I could care less about everything else on CBS's streaming service. I don't care. I don't want to see the 40 flavors of CSI. I don't want to see NCIS. I don't want to see The Big Bang Theory. I don't want to see How I Met Your Mother. You know, none of that interests me. None of that. I just want to see Discovery. And that is a roadblock to me. Like as much as I like all the DC movies and stuff like that, I don't have a need to watch them repeatedly. I just want to see Titans.
So maybe streaming services, because I feel the same way. When it comes to certain streaming services, there's just a certain amount of shows that I just want to watch, and I don't really care about anything else. So maybe for you, or like a viewer like you, maybe streaming services need to have more options. Maybe they need to have a certain subscription. Like for example, when you get cable, they say, "Oh, what channels do you want? You know, what services do you want?" Maybe they should have something like, I think in the future, streaming services will get to that point where you're going to have packages within a streaming service. They're going to say, okay, let's say, for example, Marvel. Oh, what type of shows do you like to watch? Oh, mainly Batman, mainly Flash, whatever. So then you get a certain package that has certain shows in it, and maybe that will appeal to a customer like you, and that could be an option.
See, for me, like the Netflix offered in Europe and in Canada, I like more because they have Star Trek. They might actually get Titans to stream, So I kind of like that, but I just kind of feel like in the US, like you can't really watch it. Like I have to get, a VPN to say I'm in England to turn around and watch Netflix, to watch Discovery.
Yeah.
Like I got to pay for an additional service to pretend I'm in another country to watch a show that I want. Okay, and it's still cheaper than watching Star Trek than paying for CBS All Access. I just like CBS doesn't have the content that people are going, oh my god, I want to watch CBS, because 9 out of 10 times all you see on CBS is BS.
Wow, that's their new slogan.
Yes.
All you see on CBS is BS.
Yeah, all you see is BS. Anyway.
But honestly, I think streaming is right now, as we speak, streaming is in its infancy right now. You know, it's if you really think about it, it's still early. It's still in the early years of streaming. A lot of people are picking up the trend, and a lot of people are going through trials and errors. You know, it's like I said earlier in the show, it is going to get to the point where streaming is going to take over cable. And I think streaming quality is going to be better as far as content, as far as packages. I mean, even right now, every streaming service offers like a free trial, so you can check it out, see if you like it. So I think, in my opinion, streaming is going to get better. The downfalls, going back to your question, the downfalls of streaming, I don't really, right now, at the current state, I don't really see a lot of downfalls in it. I mean, you kind of can't go wrong. I mean, I think the only downfall is that maybe we have so many streaming services, it's going to be hard to keep up. And there might be certain shows you want to watch that you can only watch on Netflix, or you can only watch on Hulu, or that you can only watch on DC. So I see the only downfall is that there's just so many streaming services that you're going to end up spending a lot of money. I say that's the only downfall that I can see for now.
And I think that will make people go to pirated sites more.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that. You're right.
Because I'm not saying...
Could be a reason.
I'm not saying that myself that I do this. But I'm saying...
Of course not. Don't do that, people.
No. Because here's the thing. like the shows that I want to watch, 9 to 10 times, there is a legitimate free way to watch them. Okay?
Yeah.
Or I pay for it on Hulu, or I pay for it on Netflix, or I pay for it on Amazon. Like, my only gripe with Hulu is, if I'm paying for the service, why am I watching commercials?
Yeah, I know. That's one thing.
Show me one commercial. Don't give me 3 minutes of commercials. You know, because
I hate to push the bubble.
You kind of make me want to pirate a show just so I can not watch commercials.
And honestly, I didn't at first. I used to. Like, as far as Hulu is concerned, when I used to watch Hulu, like when I first watched it, it didn't bother me at first. I'm like, just a few commercials. But then I felt like over time, the commercials just got longer and longer. And it's literally almost like 5 minutes of a commercial every time it goes to commercial.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, like seriously. And I also recently heard that Netflix is considering getting advertisements in their shows.
Yes. Netflix will play one commercial in the beginning of your show. Done.
If they keep it that way, I'm fine. I don't mind. And I understand you need advertisements to, you know, like at the end of the day, you gotta, you know, you gotta pay bills at the end of the day. So advertisements bring in more money, and that's fine. But don't overload it. That's one of the reasons why people rather streaming, is because there's not so many damn commercials.
Or people would rather pirate because there's no commercials.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, and it's like a major domino effect. Yeah, like the commercial, it might lead to more pirating. And if you want to have people get your service and stay away from the pirating and give you money, you got to entice them. I mean, even if you just do one commercial at the beginning, that's perfectly fine. I'm fine with that. Give me a 2-3 minute commercial, and then the rest of the show I can watch uninterrupted. I'm fine with that, especially if I'm paying money for it, you know? So
Hey, listen, I have YouTube Premium because I couldn't stand the commercials.
Yeah, I got the free trial for that. It's actually really interesting because now you can listen to YouTube like in the background. Like if you go out of the app, it'll still play. Like, that's an interesting feature that I never really knew that I wanted with YouTube, but it's pretty cool.
And yeah, but the YouTube Music app sucks.
Yeah, I just stick to my iTunes or my what's the other one? SoundCloud, or what the hell is the other one called?
Pandora.
It's Pandora and like Spotify. I just usually stick to that. I don't really mess with YouTube Music. I don't really see a point in getting a subscription with YouTube Music. I don't understand the difference.
It comes with premium.
Oh, it does?
Well,
oh,
yeah.
I didn't even realize that because I did a free trial for premium, and I never tried to use it, so.
Well, my whole thing, my problem with YouTube Music is, yes, you do get music. It does stream beautifully. It does stream clear. It's very consistent. It's better than Pandora as far as quality is concerned. But it's such a general bullshit top 40 thing that it's ridiculous. Like, I literally sat on YouTube Music and I downvoted and hit next for about 20 minutes straight. I don't care about Tekashi 69. No, I don't want to hear him. I got to play him when I'm DJing a gig, but I don't want to hear him in my time, you know?
Yeah.
It asks, the whole top no, and when you first sign up, it goes, select the bands that you like. Man.
You don't like any of those bands?
No, but here's the thing. It's like, okay, it said Tony Bennett. Okay, I hit Tony Bennett. And then the next 4 artists they show me are 4 artists that I don't like from big bands. You know? But, like, the choices that they gave me was, like, Tekashi 69, Metallica. I hate Metallica.
What?
Oh, God. I had a roommate that played them 24/7, day and night.
I mean, so I like them, but I don't like them that much.
I can't stand them for that. And they were hypocrites with the whole music piracy stuff. Yo, Lars talked about, goes, yeah, man, we used to make tapes of other bands, you know, meaning like, you know, Led Zeppelin or whatever, and hand them out to our friends. So you pirated music and you distributed music, but you don't want anyone else to touch your stuff. You're a hypocrite.
Technically, that's a little weird, man. You can't do that.
You're a hypocrite and you're greedy. Oh, bro, you don't know how much I wish the band went like belly up at that point, just because he was a hypocrite.
At this point, man, streaming is the future. That's where things are, and that's where we're going. Whether people want to accept it or not, streaming is the future, and we just gotta be ready to just flow with it, man.
Man, if I had more hard drive space, I would download everything.
And that's the thing, is like, you know, owning anything now is getting less and less. Like, even with gaming. You know, gaming is moving into this whole big streaming aspect. It's going to get to the point where it's like you're not going to own a game anymore. You're not going to own a movie anymore. I mean, I still buy like Blu-ray DVDs and stuff like that once in a while because I like the special features. And maybe I can say that's one of the downfalls about streaming is that, like, I love special features. I love getting like a Marvel movie and I love watching how it was made. Like, that's me. I'm a film guy. And the only thing I feel like streaming takes away from that from that movie viewing experience where, like, if you being in a movie theater or you going to the special features, watching how the movie was made, get to talk to the actors and the directors.
Man, for me, it's the director's comments. That teaches you more. Like, there's a movie, Lost in Space. Remember that movie? A couple years old. Well, on the DVD, they had 3 different commentaries. The director of photography was one. The actors were another, and the director was the third. I learned more tricks about the cinematography from that director's comments than I did in, like, all the years of film school and independent productions and everything else. Like, he just said these 5 tricks in there that I was like, oh my God, that just completely changes the way I thought about shooting things.
That changed my life.
It did. Like, that whole movie was shot on one aperture.
Really?
Yes. It used the same f-stop for every shot. So every shot had very consistent depth of field. And they just changed the lighting to give you the different effects.
Oh, wow.
You know, and they would use smoke. An old trick that I used to do when we used to shoot things in video, trying to make it look like film, we would throw smoke in the room to limit the depth of field. So they would do that trick to do on film to make things to limit the depth of field and things like that. I was like, and then he went on and on with different lenses and this and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this fucking guy's a genius. He's an absolute genius.
See, that's what you would lose with streaming, though. Unless streaming adds that to the services. Like I said, we're still young. They could, you know, like, streaming is still in the early stage and they could eventually do that. But that's what I would miss. I would miss those just extra features. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I buy movies. If I buy a DVD, I'm not just buying it for the movie, but I'm buying it to see, all right, what's going to be in these special features. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna miss that. Like I think they should really consider adding that to it. But you got to also consider the fact that the more things streaming adds to its services, it's gonna get more expensive. Because right now Netflix, its basic membership is only like what, $8, $9. Imagine when they start doing commercials, or imagine when they start adding, like the special features. If they do that, we can see Netflix going up higher.
See, but there's where these smaller streaming services like Disney can turn around and go, hey, when you sign up for our service, you'll get every single special feature that's on the DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah. Now, see that?
If they did that would
yeah.
Then I'd be like, well, shut up and take my money.
Exactly. See, that would make me go to Disney. And that's the thing that I'm saying. Like, all these streaming services, it's going to be competition. And that could be nothing but good news for us as like film geeks. Because with competition, it's going to make people say, all right, we got to come up with something creative, something innovative that's different. So as far as your question again, I think that's going to be the upside of streaming. The fact that we have so many is going to make the competition greater. And that's just going to be better for us at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I kind of think we should end on that note. But before we end, we ask all our listeners, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are working on a YouTube channel. And don't forget, we have a giveaway. That once we hit 50 comments, we're going to give away a random person who put up a comment. We're going to give them a $50 gift certificate. We're aiming for the iTunes store, but if you want something else, we could work it out. And don't forget, we listen to your suggestions, and we'd like to hear what you think. And if there's anything specific you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll be more than happy to cover it. And in the next couple weeks, we're going to have a guest or two. And
for sure.
It'll be interesting. So listen, do you want to sign off and then go into the after show? Because I have a couple questions for you for the after show.
For sure. For anybody who wants to check out the after show, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon. That's patreon.com, KJ of JHouze. We have special benefits for our Patreons over there. And like I said, you also have access to our after show and many other little special features we'll throw in there. I'm not going to give away everything. And that should be about it. Thanks for checking out the show, and we will catch you guys later.
Later.
Montana. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, I'm on a mission every fucking day. Visions about the 48, cause you know I don't play. Hard work, determination, that's the only way. Dreams about the mysteries up in the lens. You could call me Montana, Henry cross the lens. I could rule with just the eye of fist and no demands. Play with me, and if you want, you could get the hands. Business in that order, sheesh, hope you understand. Cause it's really simple, I don't play no games. When it comes to the money, all types of change. See, my moves is really different when it comes to change. Putting pressure on their necks when you want the game. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, lame niggas nowadays, they just wanna talk. They don't have a sense of patience, they don't know the walks. I got the G's telling me, young nigga ball. Yeah, I've been around the block, so I seen the falls. Yeah, I'm surfing, hang tender waves, right? Got your girl with me, now she talking. the shit. I'ma take it all over. I'm a boss to the shit. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Put respect on my name when you hear the call. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't know me at all. Yeah, they claim that they know, don't